Coach, how are we doing today?
Good, thanks.
You ready to get going? All
Yes, sir.
right, John Finneran, you're up first.
Morning, Brian.
Morning, John Finneran.
How are you, sir?
Great, thanks.
Well, could you give us an update on your team's general health, injuries, or and battling the flu? And also, the second question I have for you is how difficult is it to prepare for one of two quarterbacks that you might see this week in Georgia Tech?
Yeah, we're still battling through the flu. We had a number of guys out on Tuesday. The guys are doing the best they can. Doc Leisler and Rob Hunt are, working overtime. We had a bunch of guys out on Tuesday. We got a bunch of guys back yesterday. So I think we just have one guy today that was new. So hopefully we're turning the corner here. Medically, we're doing really well in terms of injuries. I think that's probably our best week we've had in quite some time. So getting this flu thing under control has really been the most difficult thing. In terms of the quarterback situation, you've got two outstanding quarterbacks there. And look, I mean, we've been down this road before with two quarterbacks. Sims and Yates complement each other really well. Sims is long, athletic. I think he's a game wrecker. I think he's a guy that can open up the game for you, running the football. Very, very dynamic. Yates is a spark. He's a playmaker. I think the thing with him is he gets out on the perimeter. He's very difficult. You got to keep him in the pocket, but he's very game. He's got moxie. Again, he's not, he's not Sims in terms of that explosiveness, but it's a good 1-2 package. So we've got to obviously be prepared for both. And then at the same time, Gibbs, is an outstanding player. You've heard me talk about him earlier. I think he's one of the best players in the ACC.
Tim Priester, you're up next.
Brian, we had a chance to talk to Kurt Heinrich the other day. If you could give us encapsulate.
That's a treat, isn't it? Talking to him.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We're going to miss it. Maybe Donovan can pick up the slack there, but just what he's meant to your defense, because from day one he was involved with it, and then what he's meant to his teammates. Maybe you have a favorite Heinrich story to share. I want to ask you a second question, a little bit off the wall maybe, but it's senior day and you might have a couple juniors making their last appearance. Have you ever talked about accommodating somebody like that in any way, or does that go against the spirit of what senior day is?
Yeah, Kurt Heinrich is, first of all, what does he bring? He brings that toughness, that grit, that demeanor of a defensive lineman in terms of, how they go to work every single day. And it's been a standard that now has been part of that legacy at the defensive line that has grown here at Notre Dame. And Kurt's been part of that. He also brings an incredible mentality, carrying the torch as a captain and as a leader. He's vigilant in the standards that we have set here, the high standards. And so he's going to be, sorely missed both as a captain, a leader, a presence, a personality. He's a no-nonsense guy. He's a throwback in a lot of ways, and you're right. I mean, Donovan is going to be his own person, but that family line and lineage will keep on here at Notre Dame. As it relates to the senior day, it's always an interesting juggling act where, these guys are graduating, but yet still have eligibility remaining. And so what you really want to do is you want to recognize the fact that they may be playing in their last game, but still have left open the opportunity for them if they want to come back, that they certainly can do that. So I think what's most important here is that they're finishing off their opportunity to, potentially get their degree and then whatever happens after that. So this is really awarding those guys that are getting their degree or have used up their eligibility, and then let the rest kind of play out from there. And that's the spirit of it, as you kind of mentioned, Tim. And I think that's the most important thing.
Tim O'Malley's up next. Go ahead.
Coach, just want to ask you about your usage of the three corners. Obviously, moving Ramon Henderson was out of necessity, but you couldn't have done it if you didn't trust the three guys you have there now. The rotation you kind of settled in on, and what you like about them at boundary and field since the flip. I guess it was the Purdue game probably when you made the flip that we saw.
Yeah, well, I think it's the emergence really of Tariq Bracy and his consistency and his play. Playing inside and out. So once you've established the guy that can play inside at nickel and out, that really gives you the ability to set your defense. And so I think it was Tariq Bracy that really kind of helped us begin to move the pieces around for us, and playing with toughness, playing with a consistency, one that, at times, was inconsistent. At points in his career, he's really been a consistent player for us. So I think you really got to point towards Tariq Bracy and his play that's allowed us to really start to move the pieces around in the manner that we've had in the defensive backfield.
Eric Hansen's up next.
Hey, Coach, I got two for you. The first one is about Jack Cohn and Amber Selking. When we were talking to Jack Cohn the other night, he brought up how powerful he felt like that asset was to have a mental performance specialist at Notre Dame. Not to be overly broad here, so that how does maybe she impact the quarterback room? What does she specifically do that helps them? My second part of the question is kind of a follow-up illness question. It just seemed weird to see a season high 7 sacks and Foskey not get one of them. And I'm wondering if he was battling the flu a little bit, or everybody just was kind of imitating him.
So Amber's role is far-reaching. I think if you look at the quarterbacks in particular, it's decluttering. It's taking away a lot of the noise, if you will, associated with the position, and keeping things a lot simpler. And for Jack, getting that assistance and getting somebody to help him with that has been really helpful for him. Obviously dealing with a lot of the noise earlier in the season, and putting that into perspective for him, I think was really useful and helpful. And Dr. Selking was able to, be very instrumental in getting him through that period of time. So, she has different roles for different players and different units. That one in particular for the quarterbacks is a lot of times decluttering and avoiding a lot of the noise. If you really do a deep dive on the game, Isaiah Foskey was doubled virtually the entire game, which freed up virtually the entire defensive line and having some one-on-one opportunities. So I think this is probably more, Eric, of what you're going to begin to start seeing a little bit more of, with a focus towards Isaiah Foskey and teams overcommitting to him, which is going to open up opportunities for other players.
As a reminder, if you have a question for Coach Kelly, use the raise hand function. We're going to go to Pete Sampson next.
Brian, in the story of the offensive line improving, we've talked about, Jack Cohn getting the ball out quickly, coaching staff figuring out a way to run the offense differently. Joel, Andrew Christopher coming in. Like, where does Jeff Quinn fit into the improvements there, and where has he sort of found different levers to pull there to help that position grow?
Yeah, I think a veteran coach in this kind of situation is the one that is needed when all kinds of criticism is being, heaped on a group. I think a coach that's probably not been in it as long as he has would maybe look towards trying to do things that were not consistent with what we're trying to achieve here. And that's patience and sticking with our process. And Jeff was really good at it. He was under a lot of criticism early on, not from me or internally. We knew what was going on, but the noise is out there, and he stuck with what was most important, and that was continue the developmental process of a young group, one that had a revolving door at left tackle, and one that we really didn't know what our best unit was. We were still evaluating players. So I think veteran experience, been in that position before, been a head coach. I think just having that kind of experience serves you well when things aren't going, obviously as well as we wanted to early on. So veteran experience always generally is going to pay off for you if you just stick with, the things that we consider to be the most important, and he should be credited for that.
Matt Freeman's up next.
Hey, Brian, the Doak Walker Award finalist came out the other day and Kyron wasn't on it. Was that surprising to you given all that he's done for the offense?
Certainly very surprising. The postseason awards have been, for me over the past 5-6 years, going all the way back to, Quentin Nelson and the Outland Trophy, have been, a myriad of confusing and really not sure, what the criteria is anymore. Look, I am very respectful for all those that have been awarded these trophies and those that have been nominated for them. Our players have seemed to have not been significant in these for some reasons. You look at the schedule that we play, the competition that we play each and every week, that doesn't seem to be a factor. Seems that stats are very, very important. Look, I mean, it is what it is. It's disappointing. Our guys do very well moving forward. And, I'm just not a big believer in how you can not look at, the entirety of your work, who we play, how we play, the consistency of our performance over the, the longevity, and these guys not be up on these award lists. But we'll just keep playing and look for team awards then.
Tyler Horka is up next.
Hey, Brian, a couple of weeks ago when the first college football playoff rankings were released, I asked, how much you guys look at them, talk about them. Now that we're a couple weeks in, I'm curious, maybe those conversations haven't really spiked in the locker room, but just from your perspective, sitting there at number 8, I'm curious how you see things shaking out, if you guys feel like you're still in a good position. And if you do make it to 11-1, is this, you've had playoff teams in the past, does this one deserve a shot, or is it as good as some of those other teams that you've had?
Well, when you lose a game, you obviously destiny is not necessarily in your hands anymore. So, you just focus on, doing the things that you can do each and every week. And that's really been our focus is, take care of the things that are in front of you. And so this team has been focused week to week. What's important now is beating Georgia Tech. And if we do that, we think you get one step closer. Beat Stanford, you get one step closer. We're in the hunt. We're in the mix. That's what we try to do each and every year. This is about graduating champions and playing for championships. So, we go into late November with a chance to obviously play for a championship. And, we're still on that journey. So let's take care of business this week against Georgia Tech. Reassess the situation. I'm sure we'll be right in there. There's a lot of teams in front of us that get to play each other. So yeah, we feel like let's go beat Georgia Tech, and we get one step closer.
Thanks, Coach. That's all the time we have.
Okay, thanks, guys.